What is going on? My golly gosh, I have screwed that up drastically, but we're just going to have to leave it in there because I can't be bothered. My name's Boit, and I am back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action. You'd think after a solid 3,000 plus intros that I'd be able to get it right, but you know, apparently not. Game number 2 between these two players, Nullus versus Joe. My golly gosh. Nullus versus Joe. We've got Nullus in the Hades color playing as blue. In the red color playing as Joe, we have Isis. And the map is anything but marsh. It is watering hole. Okay, now you get that I'm trying to make fun of myself here, but we do have the map watering hole here. Joe having a little bit of difficulties in that first game, sticking with Hades here, not Hades, sticking in with Isis here, knowing the Nullus is most likely going to be going through Hades in this series against him, opting to not pick Ra on Watering Hole. A little bit surprised to see this. We'll have to wait and see what Joe's plan is here. The big feature of Watering Hole that makes it a bit of an interesting map, a little bit difficult for the Egyptian players, not necessarily the Egyptian players, a little bit difficult for players in general, is the kind of defensive orientated nature of this map. So it's going to be really good for Egyptian in that way, or really bad for Egyptian in that way. As well, depending on if you're playing against Hades or if you're playing against, say, like, I don't know, Odin, or if you're playing against, say, like an Uranus. All these things come into play when we're talking about how the map works. Now, the question is going to be, what sort of strategy here does Joe want to go? He's throwing up his houses. He's trying to get going. His monument's coming up over here, and everything's going to be coming out. Nullus, I can almost guarantee Nullus is going to be going for a fast second town center. Now, my advice for Greek players playing against Egyptian here, especially playing against Isis, is if the Egyptian player goes for a second town center. Now, you're going to know what sort of second town center, if they got you. So you're going to know if they're going for a second town center by their advance time. If they're going to go for a second town center, you want to grab your back town center. If they're going to be going for a one town center fast heroic, sorry, let me start again. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. If your Isis opponent is going for a one town center play, grabbing the forward town center is a mistake. You should grab the back town center. If your opponent goes for a two town center play as Isis, you want to grab the forward town center. All right, now that's out of the way. How do you work that out as the Greek player? Well, Isis players who are going to go for a two town center play are going to be advancing between the time 4 minutes and 2 seconds and 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Anywhere between there is going to be even 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Any time between there is going to be a fast second town center. If your Isis player advances at 4 minutes, 44 seconds or later, that's more than likely going to be a fast heroic. Now, the Isis player can still go for a fast second town center in those situations, but because they're so late, you can put pressure onto it as the Greek player and really slow them down. So while they advance later, and you might just make the hashtag mistake of going for the back town center, you're going to be able to maybe even deny their second town center from going up. And now, what Joe's doing here looks very, very much like a fast heroic to me. He's already got villages on wood. This does also give away a fast heroic as well. So if you want to scout this out with a little bit more detail than just the advanced timings, and you see the wood villages, you kind of know, hey, that's probably going to be a fast heroic off of one town center. So right now, Nullus is going to be thinking back town center or bust here. I'm pretty sure that whenever I've seen a Greek player go for a forward town center against Isis, generally speaking, it's going to be a nightmare to hold that forward town center. As we do see the Athena coming up, a very, very late advance time here for Nullus is very surprising. Not sure why that is. It's almost 5 minutes well, it was 5 minutes plus, so he must have had some idle town center time as well. Not sure why that was. He had 1,000 hunt on this granary. No real reason to be advancing that late, as he does move forward onto this hunt as well. Meanwhile, husbandry coming through for Joe. Joe's going for a very, very late advance time here in the classical age. There's really not any problem with this. If you're going for a fast heroic, there's no problem with advancing late. You can advance as late as 6 minutes if you like, so long as you just shoot that armory up with your pharaoh and all your villagers. It's no real problem. So, I mean, we'll have to see exactly what these players are going to go for. Nullus at this point, he's got 6 villagers on wood. He's got 6 villagers on gold. And, I mean, that's not enough to drop 2 town centers. So even if Nullus was, like, aiming for a later advance time, going for a 3rd town center doesn't have enough villagers on the gold and wood to make that make sense here. You can see that he's got, just not enough resources. So his villagers are going to be moving off of the food over here onto the town center, and he's still grabbing gold. So we might be seeing a very fast 3rd town center as well from Joe. Now, this is something that I think we've started seeing from Norse players, which might actually just be a real hard counter to the ISIS 1 town center timing attack. I'm not actually sure just yet. I haven't had enough games to see it. But we have been seeing it from Norse players with the idea that they just grab town center after town center after town center. And it's not that big of an investment because they're not using villages to build it. So it only costs a flat 700 resources, where everyone else, it costs 700 resources plus the 5 villagers building the town center's gather time to get this town center up. So it's a little bit more expensive, something like 900 or 1,000 resources to get a town center up. Meanwhile, we are actually seeing Nullus going for this extra town center. Now, the reason why we've been seeing this against the 1 town center gameplay, and we're seeing Joe get a surprising fast 2nd town center. I don't know anything about this game. I don't know anything. These guys are the best players, and they're both doing things that are surprising to me in this game. This is a bizarre from Joe. Super late 2nd town center. There's nothing on this 2nd town center. There's no reason to grab this one. I would have grabbed this town center at the front here. If I was going for a fast 2nd town center here is ISIS, and we're just not seeing it. I just don't understand. But he does have some hunt in his main base, I guess, so he can pull back onto that. Anyways, this fast 3 town center grab here from Nullus against the 1 town center push, would have loved to have seen if it would have worked or not. The idea being is the town center gets up, and you just let your opponent Ancestors Eclipse push this, and then you just leave it. You just run. Because you've got so many villagers out of the town center that it's paid itself off by the time the push comes. So long as you force the Ancestors Eclipse out, the town center goes down, you get your units up. You've already got your units most likely as well by that stage. And then you can just push back after the Ancestors Eclipse is gone, and you're good to go. That's the idea behind the 3 town centers against 1 town center play. But we're not seeing that here. Joe's using his prosperity at this point. He's kind of run out of hunt. He does have some hunt up the top side of the map here. He's got some crown crane over here as well. He's got some hippo in the middle of the map here that he's not taking advantage of. This is going to be a very, very late advance time here from Joe, it seems, as he just does not have the food here to advance, as his prosperity here has come through. And what is the game plan? I do not know. This is looking very, very nasty here, as we do see this villager has been caught out. A little bit of damage going to be coming through with the Sphinx as the wall. I mean, a little bit of damage coming through. Can he get the damage done onto the wall? Yes, he can, as he bashes that one down. Wall very, very low HP now, as Joe trying to put a stop to this nonsense that's coming through, this tomfoolery. We do see it will be completed. If he attacks this wall, it's much, much better. We do see some priests coming over here to start getting some damage done. As that wall is up, and the Ajax now coming in to say, get out of here, Mr. Sphinxy. The priests come through. They're not going to be enough to actually kill that villager as it gets pulled back. Nice play from Joe, but nicer play by Nullus here. As he gets the Ajax in, the villager going to be nice and safe. The wall's up. There is a low HP wall over here, which Joe can kill very, very easily. If he wants to spread that damage across, he can do so with just the 2 priests. All you have to do is click on this wall here, click on this wall segment over here, or click on this wall segment here, click on this wall segment here, and it will share the damage there. As Nephthys is coming through, Nullus with plenty of food in the bank, lots of stables coming up, and archery ranges. I've already talked about this a little bit. I don't mind it as much with Hades because the archers are much stronger and they do move a little bit faster than the Zeus and the Poseidon. But in general, I just wouldn't recommend archers against Egyptian until you see their unit composition. So you can build the archery ranges in advance and be ready to kind of chuck your villages onto the economy to kind of support those. But I just wouldn't build Toxotes until after I saw a handful of spearmen with upgrades on them. So we do see the Migdol Stronghold coming up in the front here. A 2-town center kind of timing push here. It's going to be scary for Nullus. Nullus is up by what seems to be around about 20 villages here. or almost 20 villagers, as Joe's kind of struggling to get the villagers out, whereas Nullus is consistently training them. Nullus now starting to get some army out of his archery ranges and everything coming through very, very nicely here. But Joe's ready to start his push as soon as he gets his units coming through here. Siege works getting thrown up in the middle of the map. Very, very risky. Personally, I don't see the difference here with the siege works being here and the siege works being back here. But Joe wants to be forward out on the map already. We will be seeing the units pulling back now underneath the town center as the Hippocon going to be moving through here to get some good damage done. All he has to do is take out that Ajax here, and he's in a good position with his myth units, but Restoration gets dropped really, really early as the villagers getting pulled back. Restoration being used here is a big, big win for Joe. He's got to be happy about it for the time being, as the Ajax trying to get sniped down there, but still relatively healthy, as now it's going to be pulling back. We are still seeing walls getting thrown up here as well, as Joe's still trying to push through. Nullus ready. He's like got so many military buildings now. He can continue to put military buildings down here as well to get more and more of these Hippocon, but the big problem right now for Nullus is he needs upgrades for his units. Right now, these unupgraded chariot archers are so absurdly strong against the units that he's got. He needs more HP on the Hippocon and on those Toxotes as well to start giving himself an advantage here. Part of that comes down to the fact that the chariot archer kind of comes in with an inbuilt medium archers attached to it. Kind of. So it's important to kind of note that that's how it works. You can see 99 HP on this. Clearly, the Chariot Archer was meant to have 90 HP, but they didn't want to give the Chariot Archer 3 line upgrades. So 99 HP it is. That's how it works. That's the stats. Though that being said, the extra 10% on the damage there from the Chariot Archer should be 9.9, and it's not. So I don't know. Maybe they got nerfed at some point along the way. I don't know. Anyways, Chariot Archers now going to be attempting to snipe some of those Toxotes down, retreating back. We'll see how things are going to go as now the Hippocon pushing through here, looking for some good damage. But Joe now starting to get his siege towers out. Elephant coming through as well. Yellow, I mean, this is something I see so often from Egyptian players. It makes me so mad. 1,200, 1,100 gold in the bank. And he's not spending it at all. Why does it make me mad? Well, the reason why Egyptian players have got so much gold in the bank is because they just don't realize they need to have more wood income than gold. For whatever reason, they just haven't worked it out, and they're just floating resource. Now, he could use that. If I honestly, it's probably not a bad idea to just use all of that gold right now, and now it makes sense to just move forward and just drop 6 towers here. Because I guarantee you that those 6 towers would help him hold this position as he pushes through. Look at this concave right now that Nullus has managed to construct. He's got double archer range. He's got the cavalry in the front. He's got the sentinel over here. Those minions here, which should be incredibly effective against this army that Nullus has constructed. He's just got such a beautiful defense. That Chiron is picking those units off so fast. Apollo on the way. Nullus is only at 123 of 145 population. He is losing units here quite quickly. As Joe's now pushing in, he's targeting down the town center. Village is going to be attempting to repair this one back up. The unit's going to be retreating back ever so slightly. Nullus, at this point as well, he's at 80 villages. He could have simply put, just retreated and allowed the town center to fall and some of the position to fall before pushing back out. And I don't think that Joe would have been able to hold here. But Joe still has not pulled in here with villagers to drop the towers. He hasn't gone for his 3rd town center. He could opt to try and go for the Mythic Age here, stay 2 town centers, Mythic Age, and see if he can make, say, Thoth work at this point, or even Osiris work as well. Small siege towers rolling through now. The villagers can pop out and start dealing with this. Nullus does have a slight problem in terms of his military production, as he's lost a couple of buildings. He has to rebuild those. Lots of resources in the bank to kind of make that work. As the Hades Shades now pushing through, villagers pushing in to try and get some damage done to those siege towers, as the town center is still doing tons of damage. Look at that, 24.91 damage per second, times 2. As the archer range gets taken down, Nullus now in the heroic age. Plenty of units remaining, immediately getting himself that heavy cavalry upgrade to try and deal with those chariot archers. Nullus doesn't have in this game the upgrade copper shields yet. Joe as well, he's got the resources for everything. This is kind of I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is annoying me. Joe right now, he's finally getting chariot archers. Joe right now, instead of having 1,600 gold, he could be full bronze. You could be full bronze at this point. Imagine full bronze, heavy chariots at this point in the game. He would not get pushed back here ever against the Nullus army. This would be an incredibly strong army here for Joe if he just gets his upgrades. Now he's getting copper mail. As he's still trying to push through with this siege tower, getting some good damage done from afar with those chariot archers. Nullus trying to defend here as best as he can. The Scorpion Men trying to push through here as well. Siege tower retreating back. Joe's still not making his way up to this top corner. If we actually take a look at his perspective, he knows the town center's here. He's just not going to pick it up. Stays 2 town centers instead. Medium spearman coming through. Copper mail coming in. We now have a Migdol stronghold on the way as Osiris has now come through. And now, Nullus' army, look at it. He's got those heavy Hippocon. He's 145 population pushing through. I feel like, the other option, instead of getting fully upgraded units, which I think is probably better than the next option I'm going to say, is had Joe just had, 6 towers set up here with crenellations, like he probably could have afforded, he would be able to stay in this position and keep sieging this location, and Nullus would have to think about how he would deal with that. Now, Nullus probably could deal with that with a fortress or making Petropolis or going Mythic Ace through Artemis with an earthquake. Obviously, you could just throw down a monument as Joe to try and defend against an earthquake, but we'll see how things are going to go here as the heavy chariot doing some good damage here. Yet again, as those Hippocon get a little bit distracted. They just have so much HP that it just takes so long for the chariot archers to get through the now 32% armor that Nullus has gotten with Pierce with copper shields. And Nullus can probably also get himself bronze shields here relatively soon as well. As Nullus, he doesn't care that there's a Migdol stronghold here. He just pushes. He's just like, I can just run through here. I can just utilize my archers to take down your chariot archers. It's a beautiful choke point right now that Joe's constructed, but it just doesn't... it matters a little bit as Nullus is retreating back, but it doesn't matter that much as Nullus is getting decent trades here. He's pulling ahead in the economy, 80 villages to 66 here as Joe now starting to move up onto this town center. I'm actually surprised that Nullus doesn't have like stables and stuff already placed around this location as Nullus is just like, I don't need the town center, just needs to hold on here in this game. Just play nice and defensively with those Toxotes to make it work. As the Hippopotamus there getting taken down, we do see Joe's chariots retreating back ever so slightly. Hephaestus coming through for Nullus as well. 3 town centers, gets Hephaestus only a minute and a half behind Joe, who has inflicted quite a bit of damage onto Nullus. After all is said and done, Joe's possibly, I would assume here that Joe's kill-loss ratio is a little bit better. Oh no, Joe's moving. Got to be careful with that Son of Osiris here. The siege tower is in position here to kind of garrison the siege tower. Garrison the Son of Osiris, excuse me. So that's going to be fine here as the Son of Osiris pops back into this location. Nicely going to start getting some good damage done. But the Toxotes here will start targeting down this Son of Osiris very, very fast. As we do also see a Hippocon managing to get onto that one there. Elephants still coming out of this location as champion chariots on the way. As, getting upgrades here for Egyptian, it's so hard. You only have so many Migdol strongholds to get them up right now. Champion chariots is delayed. How many upgrades? How many chariots could you potentially get when you get champion chariots? 40. So you can get what? 36, 30. What's that? 4 chariots out for the cost of 1 champion chariot. 6 2/3. 6 2/3. Fine. 6 2/3 chariots out for the cost of a champion chariots upgrade, which would be back up to full population, mind you. So it can be quite hard to get those upgrades out unless you've got multiple Migdol strongholds, which you just can't afford as Egyptians. So that's why it's so important to get your upgrades out when you can, as soon as you can. You see the Son of Osiris getting pushed back yet again. Nullus pulling back. Forge of Olympus in. Flood control coinage. This is something that Nullus does every single time he hits that Mythic Age. He gets those 3 upgrades immediately. He's only got 5 donkey caravans, but it's so important to get coinage out that he just grabs it straight away, just in case you forget it a little bit later. Really, really smart play. The ideal time to get coinage would be the time that it gives you more boost than getting a donkey caravan, which with a 20% increase to move speed probably would be actually 5 donkey caravans. So it makes a lot of sense here as the Hippocon now still pushing through here as Joe Still out of position ever so slightly. Pulls back here with the Son of Osiris. Still getting chased back. He still has this beautiful concave here coming in. We see some random villagers. Troy is attempting to farm outside her walls. Stop her. Funnily enough, after you stop Troy farming outside her walls, the game tries to make you farm outside your walls. And you will too learn the lesson that Troy would have learned in that moment. That raiding villagers on farms outside his walls is a very, very useful thing. Right? That's why you don't farm out. Anyways, I don't know if we're going to see that here as Nullus has managed to yet again overpower Joe's Egyptian army here as he's just... I mean, it's just the two Migdol strongholds are just not enough here. Joe's got plenty of resources actually in the bank, just not wood for whatever reason here. He's also got Bast and he's got Bowsaw. It's really important to remember Bowsaw doesn't actually increase the... as we do see Joe resigning there, but we'll talk a little bit about this. So Bowsaw doesn't actually increase Egyptians' wood gatherer. You need Bowsaw and adds of Apatamark? No. Adds of what is it? I can't remember what it is. Adds of wet. So adds of wet plus carpenters gives you a boost to wood, or you just go straight to carpenters, which obviously Joe didn't do. And yet again, we see Nullus is Hades. It just manages to just bounce off all the pressure you put onto the Hades, just manages to bounce off it. Now, obviously here, you take a look at the situation that Joe got himself into here, and you go, well, it makes sense. It makes sense. So, Nullus has got 3 town centers to the 2 town centers for the majority of the game. So, Nullus is in front by 20 villages at some point here, right? So, for Joe to find equilibrium in this game, he actually needs to kill more of Nullus's units than Nullus is gained in terms of economy. That's how you find equilibrium here. Now, Joe did find that advantage for a moment in this game, but instead of teching up and making his army really, really strong so it wouldn't lose to the... let me speak better, more clearly. Instead of taking up his army to try and make it trade efficiently against what Nullus would be able to make, because Nullus hasn't got his upgrades either. Instead of doing that, he goes for the Mythic Age, which just takes too long. If instead of going to the Mythic Age here, he dropped a second armory, for example, and he just started getting his bronze armor, bronze mail, bronze pierce armor, bronze shields, bronze mail, those two, and maybe even a couple weapons here, and maybe didn't have as many villagers on gold. Alternatively, the other option also would have been the tower situation that I talked about before. If you chuck towers down with that push afterwards, then once the units start pushing back to try and defend, they're greeted by 6 or 3 watch towers, 3 guard towers with crenellations. Then your chariot archers are just going to be able to sit underneath those towers and live the dream. So those are the options here for Joe that I thought made a little bit more sense than a relatively fast Mythic Age here. But he didn't go for it. Nullus manages to hold. The Son of Osiris can't do enough. And Nullus gets the dub in 2 games there. Best of 3 series. Nullus gets the dub. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.